All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a debate on gender identity and womanhood on the Dr. Phil Show. All right, so we're about to get into this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe while we watching. Now let's roll it.
Have you ever heard the terms chest feeder, birthing body?
I don't think women should ever be demeaned to something so simple as chest feeders. It's just nasty.
For me, I like to be called a woman.
When we talk about rights for women, it sometimes excludes members of the LGBTQ community. So I think it's important to have those kind of terms.
Very disrespectful.
As a woman, I don't feel like that's appropriate, and it makes me feel like people like that use that term are superior to me.
Yeah, I mean, chest feeder? Chest feeder? That almost sounds like something aliens who crash land on this planet would call us. Like if aliens came down and they had to differentiate between men and women, they'd call women the chest feeders. Like that's what that sounds like. On the trans side, I understand you have people who want the language to be inclusive, and the people who support the trans community want the language to be inclusive. But what we have here is a case of biological men who are identifying as women, and they want traditional terms that have always been good enough for us to use to be changed because they identify as something that, I'm sorry, they unfortunately aren't. So in my opinion, that's not fair to women who were born as women. Why should the language have to change because of someone else's gender identity?
People like that use that term are superior to me.
As a trans woman, I think it's just really disrespectful because we all are all human.
You go to a university, you hear these types of terms.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me.
The pedestal that women are supposed to be put on is getting ripped out from under them. They are destroying the very things that they believe they're fighting for. It's dangerous to women whether they realize that or not.
Yeah, I mean, imagine, all this feminist talk about fighting the patriarchy and men being bad and, men this and that, patriarchy. Now you have men who are walking in, infiltrating in women's spaces, breaking records, getting special privileges, winning awards, and they're not even batting an eye. They're not even saying nothing. Like, what happened to feminism? Not that I was ever a huge fan of modern day feminism, but it seems like they done lost their way.
Well, the question is, by being more trans inclusive, are we erasing cisgender women, or as you were just saying, just woman, people whose gender identity matches the sex they were assigned at birth?
The way that you defined it is the way that it is ordinarily defined in society today by some, but it also assumes that there is such a thing called gender identity that we all have. That's an assumption, right? And it may turn out to be true. I don't think that it will, but it might. But it's important to at least acknowledge that we're making an assumption that gender identity is something we all have. I would say that I don't have one. I would just go back to saying I'm a woman because I'm an adult human female. I'm also a woman who cannot have babies. And I think it's very important to acknowledge that a woman who cannot have babies is a woman in a manner that it is not true that a male person could ever be a woman.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point that she's making. I mean, do we have a gender identity, or are we just, what we are born as? I guess gender identity is really only a thing if you aren't comfortable with the gender you were born as, because most people who are comfortable with the sex they were born as at birth don't really put too much stake into gender and identity and things like that. It's not really a struggle for your everyday person. Not even something that most people even think about. I have my own identity, and so does everybody else. And yes, gender does play a part in that. But I mean, as far as gender is concerned, I'm just a man like every other man out here. That's not too important within my overall identity.
May I say something?
Yes, please.
So your gender identity, though, you just described yourself as a woman who can have babies. That is a gender identity, just as my trans and non-binary identity is a gender identity. Just because it goes against the norms doesn't mean that your identity isn't any less of an identity than mine.
So I would just say that that is not an identity. It is a biological reality.
That is what you say.
That's what you say.
Yeah. No, it's just what's true.
That's what you say, and it's fine. It's fine.
just
I
what's
take it
true.
because I can't have babies either. But that's what you say, and what you say is not law.
Yeah, I mean, you could say it's not law, but she ain't wrong with what she said. She's pretty much saying that her being a woman isn't all tied up into this gender identity thing. It's just biological fact. Yeah, she might not be able to give birth, but she's still a woman. I'm a man. This is just a fact. This doesn't tie into, our gender identities, and this isn't something that, we're constantly thinking about or battling and, so on and so forth. It's just biology. I'm a man. Deal with it.
Can I just make the point that
You can make a point, girl.
even non-functioning female anatomy is still female anatomy. So the fact that you can't have a child or you can't get pregnant, that doesn't diminish the fact that you are a woman,
But
because you still have the anatomy to do so.
Those are two different things, though. Being a female anatomy, having female anatomy, and being a woman are two different things.
But they're not, though, because
They are.
this
Well, I
brings...
could go get the anatomy.
Well, what is a woman then?
Why does it matter?
No, I mean, hold on. You can't just go get the anatomy. There are things on the inside. There are things on the inside that you can't just go and get. You can't just go and, just put on all the woman parts and be a woman. You can, with plastic surgery and hormone treatments and all of this stuff that we doing nowadays, which is just an intervention with our original divine purpose, if you ask me. But with all that going on, yeah, you can make yourself look like something that you aren't on the outside, but you can't change the inside, man.
The woman then.
Why does it matter so much to have this differentiation? Why is it so important to hold on to this definition of biological
I could offer
feminine?
something.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm asking you.
So
why does it matter?
Dr. Phil in earlier was talking about how the women's movement has achieved certain objectives. Women have had to fight for our rights for thousands of years all over the world and for hundreds of years in this country because we have been discriminated against and excluded from public civil society, from the educational arena, from the legal arena, from numerous arenas on the basis of sex. And many of us who support those movements are not about to turn around and pretend that sex is not a meaningful legal and physical category.
Now, this is a modern day OG feminist. With all of this trans talk going around nowadays, they have really hijacked the conversation. You really don't even hear from feminists too much nowadays. I kind of miss feminism. You know what I mean? When I first started making YouTube videos, feminism was actually something that I would, discuss a lot more on my channel. But now that, men who make this transition to being women, now that this has become as big as it is, now that this has become as popular as it is and everyone's talking about it, you almost don't even really hear about feminism. And that does go to show you that women are being de-pedestalized a bit because of this whole inclusion and this inclusionary talk that we talking about.
So why not have another group of women join your fight and it be more force in numbers
No kidding,
than for
dude.
you
Yeah,
to
we need
exclude
allies.
us based on what you're talking about?
All women are welcome to join the movement.
Do you mean trans women are welcome to join the movement?
I don't mean men, I mean women.
So you think trans women are men?
It's not a matter of opinion.
I got to push back on her a little bit right there because men definitely played a huge role in, helping to liberate women. So, I mean, what's wrong with men joining the feminist fight if they so pleased to? I'm not no feminist. I'm all for women, but I would never call myself a feminist. I don't want to have that label upon me, but men have definitely played a huge role in, helping to liberate women and giving them a lot of rights that they have today. So I don't understand that there, but let's continue.
Opinion. We're talking about the material reality of biological sex, which is grounded in science and reality.
But sex and gender are different.
Women are female and men are male. And it's okay to say that. It's okay to say that. It really is.
It's okay for you to say it.
It's okay for anyone to say it.
Dr. Phil, may I bring it back around to your original question, please, about language? Because you said something that really...
This is Danny, by the way.
My name is Danny. I'm a non-binary birther. For those of you who don't know, I gave birth to my child 20 months ago at home. It was beautiful. It was a spiritual experience.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I did it as a non-binary person, not as a woman, just to be very clear. Just because I gave birth doesn't make me a woman or a mother. And there needs to be space in the birthing world that allows me to show up as a birthing person. There's no language. There's no books. There's very few podcasts. When I was pregnant, I had very little support outside of my community as a birthing person because of the lack of inclusive language. Inclusive language isn't just about language, it's about opening doors, it's about safety, it's about creating space for others. We don't want to push women out. We want to join you in your fight because we know what it feels like to be erased every single day, and I would not wish that upon anybody.
So you don't want the term woman and the category of biologically defined woman to be erased?
Absolutely not.
And you don't want that either?
Not at all. Not at all. I agree with Danny 100%. We love women. They are at the front for it. But we need to be included in this mission that they're on because we're here. Regardless of what you say my genitals are, I'm still here representing myself as the woman of trans experience that I am.
Wow, that was an interesting conversation. Just to speak to the end, the final arguments that was made by the trans side, like I hear what they're saying, but there is no way that you can join the fight, so to speak, and call yourself a woman without the question rising of, well, what is a woman then? So if it actually does become law one day where we have to call trans women women, then what will women even be anymore? What will they be? If anyone can become one, what will a woman be? The definition will have changed drastically by that point because anyone can become one. I understand that they might not have bad intentions, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions. They might have good intentions and they might not be meaning to do harm, but if men can, get a few surgeries and get some hormone therapy or whatever it is and, call themselves a woman, something that they weren't born as biologically, then I'm sorry, but what will a woman even be? I honestly think, and this is just my opinion, that all of this surgical intervention that we doing to transition people from different genders and to match their gender identity, I really do think it's intervening with God's plan. And it's intervening with biology. So that's whether you're looking at this from a religious perspective, a spiritual perspective, or if you're looking at it from science. Men are men and women are women. And these people here are going to have a very difficult time trying to get people on board with their ideas because most people just don't recognize them as being women. And that's not hateful. That's not bigotry. It's just biology. If you had to go get surgeries and get skin removed off your arm and, get things chopped off and get hormones and all this other stuff, that's not the kind of woman for me. And that's not the kind of woman for a lot of people. But let me know what you thought about this, you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe on your way out the door. Leave a comment down below. And until next time, you guys, I'm out of here. Peace.